Imagine being erased from your own family on purpose. One second you're holding back tears over a missing photo, and the next you're plotting something so cold it makes even Reddit say, "Damn." If you've ever been the forgotten one at the table, you're going to want to read this to the very last word. You ever sit in a room full of people who are supposed to love you and suddenly realize you're just background noise? That was me last Christmas Eve. Elbows on the table, half listening while my stepdad Todd raised his wine glass to toast his real kids. His words. Not even subtle. It was like someone hit mute on the whole room. No one flinched. Not my mom, not my step-siblings, not even my little half-brother, who's 7 and still thinks Santa's real. I just sat there, blinking, holding my fork midair like I could stab the disbelief out of it. Let me rewind. I'm Jason, 20, college sophomore, part-time barista, full-time disappointment apparently. I've been living on campus in Chicago the past 2 years, grinding out an engineering degree I don't even know if I want. Most of my tuition's been covered by a fund my dad set up before he passed when I was 9. Rest in peace. Real MVP. The rest I hustle for, because asking my mom or Todd for help is like asking a vending machine for a hug. Todd married my mom when I was 13. He was all khakis and forced smiles at first. That fake friendly thing guys do when they're trying to play dad without stepping on your ghost dad's shoes. But somewhere between my 14th birthday, which he missed, and my high school graduation, which he left early, he stopped pretending. Started calling me your son in front of my mom. As in, did your son eat the last of the almond milk? Like I was a roommate who owed rent. He had 2 kids from a previous marriage, Brady, now 18, and Emily, 16, who moved in with us when I was in high school. They were always tight with Todd. Family game nights, weekend lake trips, their photos everywhere. I'm in like 2 frames in the living room. One's from middle school. I have braces and a bowl cut. Thanks for that, Mom. And look, I wasn't perfect. I kept to myself. Spent most of high school coding or hiding out in the garage working on dumb DIY tech projects. But I never caused trouble. Never got arrested. Never even stayed out past curfew. Meanwhile, Brady crashed Todd's car senior year and Emily got suspended for vaping in the bathroom. Guess who still got new iPhones every year? Anyway, this last semester, I didn't come home for Thanksgiving. Finals were brutal. And honestly, I just didn't feel like pretending we were one big happy family for a weekend. I texted my mom. She sent back a thumbs up. Classic. But Christmas? That was supposed to matter. I'd been telling myself maybe this time it'd be different. Maybe Todd would ask how school's going, or Emily would let me sit next to her without rolling her eyes. Maybe Mom would notice I lost 20 pounds since summer. Not on purpose. Stress is just a hell of a diet plan. Instead, I walked into a living room that smelled like pine-scented candles and apathy. No one looked up. No hugs. No, you're back. Just Todd saying, dinner's almost ready. And Mom asking me to move my bag off the couch so Emily could sit down. I hadn't even taken my coat off. And then came dinner. Todd at the head of the table like he's hosting some Hallmark special. Emily and Brady on either side. Me squished on the far end next to the kids' table where my half-brother Owen kept dropping peas on the floor. Mom passed the mashed potatoes, Todd poured wine, and everything was fine. Boring, but fine, until the toast. To Brady and Emily, he said, standing, glass raised. My real kids. You make me proud every day. Couldn't ask for better. That was it. No mention of Owen. Definitely none of me. No one said a word. I looked at my mom, waiting for her to say something. Anything. She didn't even look up. Just sipped her wine and nodded like this was totally normal. I didn't say anything then. Didn't flip the table or call him out. I just stared at my plate, counted the peas, and felt something inside me go cold, like a switch flipped. Like something I'd been holding together for years finally cracked. And that crack, it was about to become an earthquake. Because if I didn't matter to them, then fine. They were about to find out what happens when the useless one decides he's done being quiet. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in my childhood bedroom, same peeling Star Wars poster on the wall, same creaky ceiling fan, and just stared at the ceiling, replaying the toast over and over. My real kids, like I was a placeholder, a guest who'd overstayed his welcome. I tried to brush it off, told myself it was just Todd being Todd, self-important and oblivious. But it wasn't just him, was it? It was the silence. The way my mom didn't flinch, the way Brady smirked, the way Emily looked me dead in the eyes and kept eating her stuffing like nothing had happened. I thought maybe I was imagining it. Maybe I was too sensitive. But then I found the gift pile the next morning. Brady got a new gaming laptop. Emily had this fancy curling iron set and a box full of Sephora products. Even Owen got a damn PlayStation 5. I got a sweater. Still had the tag on it. To Dad, from Emily. She'd given it to Todd, and someone had clearly rewrapped it and handed it to me with my name scribbled on a torn post-it. I sat on the couch, holding that thing, waiting for someone to say it was a joke. No one did. Mom breezed past like everything was normal, said, "Try it on, honey," before going back to the kitchen. That was it. That was the moment. Because I realized it wasn't just Todd. It wasn't some accident. They didn't forget me. They just didn't care. So I left. No dramatic speech, no screaming. I packed my stuff, put the sweater back on the coffee table, and walked out while they were watching a Christmas movie I wasn't invited to join. I didn't cry until I hit the gas station 5 blocks away. I sat in my car, hands shaking, and cried harder than I had in years. Because it wasn't just this Christmas. It was every birthday party I planned myself. Every time I paid for my own books while they forgot to send money. Every time Mom said, "You know how Todd is," instead of standing up for me. And then it hit me. I still had access to my college fund. It wasn't something I thought about much. Just a savings account my dad had set up through a trust, locked until I turned 18. Todd had tried to get control of it when I was in high school, but my dad's lawyer shut that down hard. The only reason it hadn't been drained already was because my dad didn't trust anyone. Smart man. And I knew, deep down, if Todd could have touched that money, he would have. So I did the most reckless, satisfying, borderline insane thing I've ever done in my life. I pulled every last cent. About $43,000. Did I need it for school? Probably. Would it screw me over long term? Maybe. But at that moment, I didn't care. Because Todd thought I was useless. Because he toasted his real kids. Because my own mother didn't even blink. So, if I was going to be the outsider, I might as well act like it. I moved the money into my personal account that day. And then, I started making calls. Because Todd had a dream. One big, stupid, publicly shared dream. Opening a sports bar with Brady after he graduated. He'd been bragging about it for years. He had a name picked out, a logo, even a pitch deck he showed off at family dinners. He was just waiting on a small business loan. And guess who his co-signer was supposed to be? Me. The tech-savvy stepson with good credit and no debt who owed the family. I remembered the emails he made me help him write, the LLC paperwork he begged me to sign, and just scan back when you get a sec. I never did, thank God. Now I had a plan. Not just to cut them off, but to make sure they knew exactly what they lost. The thing about revenge, real, cold, you'll feel this in your bones, revenge, is that it can't be loud. It has to slip in, quiet and sharp like a splinter. And I wanted Todd to bleed from it. First step, make sure they couldn't use me for anything. Back in January, I quietly shut every door they could walk through. Utilities? I'd been paying and managing them online for their house since high school because Todd couldn't figure out autopay and Mom didn't have time. I took my name off everything, left their accounts to rot. Their power got a late fee 2 weeks later. I laughed so hard I almost spilled my ramen. Phone plan? I was the account holder. Family bundle. Gone. They got the "service discontinued" text on a Tuesday morning. My mom texted me from a burner number that afternoon. "Was this you?" I left her on read. But that wasn't the satisfying part. The satisfying part came when I met with a lawyer. I'd found the guy through a classmate, some Chicago bulldog who specialized in small business litigation and family trusts. We sat down at a Starbucks, and I laid it all out. The fund, Todd's attempts to access it, the business he'd been planning on my back without my consent. The lawyer grinned. Told me I wasn't just allowed to drain the fund, I was smart to do it when I did. "Better you spend it than let someone else leech off it," he said. I told him I wanted to go a step further. See, Todd had registered a business name months ago using my school address. Didn't ask. Just filed paperwork with the Secretary of State using my dorm as his mailing address. When I confronted him back then, he brushed it off, said, "You're my kid, right? What's the big deal?" Well, I wasn't. Not anymore. So my lawyer helped me file a formal objection with the state, citing misuse of address, unauthorized filings, and attempted fraud via co-signature. We had receipts, emails, copies of unsigned contracts, texts where Todd said things like, "Just sign this, it's a formality." I filed it. I sent copies to the city's small business office. I made sure every bank he was working with got a letter explaining that I would not be attached to any venture with Todd O'Connell's name on it. Within 10 days, every application he'd filed was denied. Brady texted me that week. Just WTF, man. I didn't answer. But the real cherry on top? I took the money and did something Todd would never see coming. I donated $15,000 to a local youth coding program, one that gives scholarships to kids like me, kids with no dads and too many stepdads. Sent the donation in my dad's name. The founder posted about it on LinkedIn and tagged me. Guess who saw it? Guess who called me 3 times in a row at midnight, probably drunk and panicking? Todd. He left a voicemail. You ungrateful little, after everything we've done for you. This is how you repay us? Everything they did for me? I laughed until I cried. Then I blocked him. Update 1. Okay, wow. I did not expect this post to blow up the way it did. I posted part 1 half out of spite, half out of insomnia, and y'all turned my comments into a support group shock firing squad for toxic stepdads. Some of you had me laughing out loud. Todd is just the human form of a wet sock, chef's kiss, and some of you hit harder than I expected. I legit teared up at a few messages, especially the ones from people who felt like they were the invisible sibling, too. So I figured I owed you a check-in. First off, no, I don't regret pulling the money. Not even a little. Not even when my financial aid office called to check in after I moved the fund and I had to reassure them I wasn't dropping out. Not even when my mom sent this dramatic 3-paragraph text calling me vindictive and saying I'd embarrass the family. Second, something wild happened last night. Remember how I blocked Todd? Well, I forgot to block Brady, and apparently, little Mr. Future Bar owner didn't take rejection well. I wake up to a screenshot. My friend Carrie from high school, who I haven't spoken to in years, DMs me a post from Brady's Instagram story. It's a blurry shot of me from some family vacation 3 years ago, captioned, "Funny how the broke one thinks he can ruin people. Good luck, loser." Classy, right? But here's the kicker. In the background of the pic, you can clearly see a whiteboard with their business plan on it. Names, ideas, budgets, a few bullet points, and, some pretty embarrassing ideas for bar themes. Todd apparently wanted a dads-only happy hour. I wish I was kidding. I sent it to my lawyer. His reply? Thanks for the exhibit. So now we've got public proof they tried to co-opt my name, use my likeness, and posted defamatory garbage. I'm not going to sue over it. It's not worth it. But it's leverage. I know some people are going to say I should just walk away. You won, move on. But honestly, I don't want to win. I want to matter. I want them to sit with the silence they created when they made it clear I was disposable. And I want to make sure they never do it to someone else. Anyway, back to class today. Midterms next week. I've got a meeting with a mentor from the coding program I donated to on Friday. They invited me to speak on a panel next month. Guess who's finally starting to feel like he's not just background noise? Yeah, more soon. It was a Tuesday. Raining, obviously, because the universe has a flair for drama. And I was halfway through a vending machine Pop-Tart in the engineering building when my phone buzzed. It was a message from my mom. Just her name on the screen gave me that stomach drop feeling. You know the one. Like getting called to the principal's office when you haven't done anything wrong, but you're still guilty of something. I almost ignored it. I wanted to. But something in me, the stupid, still wants her approval part, tapped it open. Jason, can we talk? Please, just talk. That was it. No guilt trip. No demand. No, you've ruined everything. Just a weirdly human request. I didn't respond right away. I stared at the message for like 10 minutes, then turned my phone face down and went to class. But it followed me. All day, like static. By midnight, I cracked. We met the next day. Neutral ground. A diner near campus. She wore the same raincoat she'd had since I was 12. Looked older in it now, smaller even. We sat in a booth. No hug. She looked tired. Thank you for coming, she said. I didn't answer. Just sipped my coffee. Waited. She started talking. Said she didn't realize how bad it had gotten. That she'd been trying to keep peace in the house and didn't know how much I felt pushed out. I raised an eyebrow at that. Didn't know? She sighed. Okay, I knew. I just didn't think you'd ever walk away. That one hit. Because yeah, she didn't take me seriously. None of them did. Not until I cut the wires. Not until the lights flickered and the bar plans crumbled. She reached across the table, hand shaky. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't want to lose you forever. And here's the worst part. Some part of me still wanted her to mean it. But I had to ask. Had to say it out loud. Why didn't you stop him at Christmas when he said I wasn't his kid? She blinked fast, looked down, whispered, because I thought if I said something he'd take it out on me later. Or worse, on Owen. That made me pause. Because Owen, he's innocent in all this. Just a kid. And I love that little goober even if he does think I'm a robot because I study engineering. I nodded slowly. So you sacrificed me to protect him. She flinched. I didn't mean to, I was scared. I didn't know what to say to that. I still don't. We sat there for a while, just quietly eating cold eggs. Eventually, she asked if we could try again. Not pretend like nothing happened, but rebuild. She even offered to pay for my books this semester. First time ever she offered that. I told her I'd think about it, and I meant it. But I also meant it when I said this. I'm not coming back to that house, and I'm not fixing your messes anymore. If you want a relationship with me, it has to be on my terms. She nodded, and then she left. No hug again. But this time, it didn't sting as much, because I wasn't the one being erased. 2 weeks later, just when I thought the dust had settled, it happened. A freaking wedding invitation, hand-delivered, cream envelope, embossed lettering, real bougie energy. Brady and his girlfriend, fiancé now, were getting married, in June, on a damn boat. Inside there was a handwritten note in gold ink. Hope you'll come. Would mean a lot to the family. Brady and Emily, yes, she helped. I laughed, like actually laughed out loud in my dorm room. Because the audacity, off the charts. The guy who publicly humiliated me tried to ride my credit score like a stolen bike and called me a loser on Instagram. Now wanted me to cheers him into holy matrimony? Nah. But that wasn't the worst part. The next day my mom called. She sounded nervous, too upbeat. Did you get the invite? She asked. Yup, I said, popping the pea. I know things are still tense, but maybe this could be a turning point, a fresh start. I almost asked if Todd put her up to it, but I didn't. I knew. I kept my voice flat. Why would they want me there? She hesitated. Because you're family. And there it was again. That word. Mom, I said slowly. They made it very clear I wasn't. She launched into some speech about forgiveness and being the bigger person and how no one's perfect and Brady's matured a lot. I almost dropped my phone. This was the same Brady who sent me a passive-aggressive meme 3 weeks ago with the caption, "Some people peak in college, others just loiter there." Yeah, super mature. But I didn't argue, and I just said, I'll think about it. Because I did want to go. Not for Brady, not for Todd, but for me. Because part of me wanted to stand on that boat, face all of them, and remind them who they tried to erase. I wasn't sure if I'd do it yet, but I started planning. And I knew one thing for sure. If I showed up, I wasn't going to blend into the background. I was going to set it on fire. Update 2. Okay, so, y'all are unhinged, and I love it. The comments on part 5? I've been cackling for 2 straight days. Show up in a gold suit and a therapist? Genius. Toast to the college fund you saved from emotional vampires? Poetic. Accidentally spill wine on the bride? Tempting. But I'm not trying to start that kind of fire. But for real, some of you made me think harder than I expected. A few folks said stuff like, "You're clearly still hurt. Don't give them the satisfaction of seeing you twisted up." And others were like, "Go. Stand tall. Be undeniable." And that second group? Yeah, I think I'm with you. Because I am going. I RSVP'd last night. Digitally, of course, because Brady's too lazy to include return envelopes. I clicked yes, selected +1, left the notes section blank. But what I didn't leave blank was my plan. Let's just say I've got a little surprise in store. See, remember how Todd always said I was useless? That I'd never make anything of myself? That my engineering degree was a waste of tuition money? Well, he's about to find out exactly how useless I am. I've got receipts, literal ones. Because at that wedding, during toasts, I'm not just raising a glass, I'm reading something. Not a speech, not a burn, but a letter my real dad wrote me on my 10th birthday, 6 months before he died. A letter I've never shared with anyone. A letter about what being a real father means. About love and presence and earned respect. I've had it saved for years. tucked in a shoebox under my bed. Never had a reason to pull it out. Until now. Because if Todd wants to toast his real kids, then I'll show them what a real son looks like. And this time I won't be asking for a seat at their table. I'll be setting my own. The boat was exactly what I expected. Tacky, overdone, and about 2 martinis away from capsizing under the weight of Todd's ego. I showed up in a black suit. Clean. Simple. No gold, no theatrics. Just me, looking more like my dad than I ever realized. I brought my +1 too, my classmate Serena. Wicked smart, deadpan hilarious, and completely down to play emotional support sniper for the night. We stepped onto the dock like it was a stage. Todd clocked me immediately. His face tightened like he'd just swallowed a lemon whole. "Didn't think you'd actually show," he muttered as we passed. I smiled. "Didn't think you'd remember I existed." He said nothing. Inside, the place was lit with string lights and forced smiles. Brady looked like a GQ knockoff. Emily was live streaming every second, and my mom, well, she looked tired again. But she gave me a small nod when I walked in, like she was bracing for the storm I might be. The ceremony was whatever, quick, loud, emotionally bankrupt. I tuned out most of it. Then came the toasts. Todd went first, long-winded. Called Brady his legacy. Called Emily the light of his life. No mention of me, of course. Then Brady toasted Emily, talked about family unity and overcoming hard times. That was my cue. I stood, tapped my glass. Every head turned. Even the DJ paused the music. I wasn't going to speak, I began, but since we're celebrating family tonight, I figured I'd say something. Todd already looked like he wanted to dive off the stern. I pulled a folded piece of paper from my pocket. "This is a letter from my dad. My real dad. He wrote it when I turned 10. 6 months before cancer took him. I've never read it out loud before. But tonight feels appropriate." I unfolded it slowly. My hands weren't shaking. Not this time. I read, "Dear Jason, I won't be around to teach you how to drive, or embarrass you in front of your prom date, or help you move into your first apartment. But I want you to know something. You're already enough. You don't have to prove yourself to anyone to be worthy of love. Real love shows up. Real family shows up. Someday, someone might try to make you feel small, like you don't belong. Don't let them. You're my son. That means something. You're smart. You're kind. And one day, they'll see what I already know. You are not forgettable." Silence. You could hear the engine hum beneath our feet. I folded the letter, put it back in my jacket. Some people in this room chose to forget me. Erase me, replace me, that's their right. But I won't let them rewrite my worth. My father, my real father, taught me better than that. Then I raised my glass. To real family, the ones who show up, the ones who don't need a bloodline to recognize value. Cheers. A few people clapped. Most just stared. Todd looked like he'd swallowed glass. Brady's fiancée looked like she wanted to disappear into the cheese platter. My mom wiped her eye. I left before the cake. Didn't need to stay for the fallout. I'd said what I came to say. That night, I got a text from my mom. "Thank you. I'm sorry it took this long to hear you." I haven't replied yet. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. But one thing's for sure. They'll never forget me again. And not because I shouted, but because I finally stopped whispering.